Planeswalkers, to another episode of the Hive Mind. My name is Jon Dunning, and this is the show where I traverse the multiverse in search of other prominent members of the Magic the Gathering community. And while you're out traversing, why don't you head on over to cardsphere.com. That's right, cardsphere.com is the best place to buy, sell, and trade your paper Magic the Gathering cards online. You could also head on over to inkedgaming.com. You could enter promo code HiveMindMTG to receive 10% off your order. Also, if you want to listen to this podcast in podcast-only form, head on over to constructedcriticism.com. That is where it is up and posted exclusively on the podcast network. Also, while we're traversing a lot of places before we get to the point today, if you want to support this show directly, the best place to do so is on patreon.com. And you get to do kind of fun stuff, which we will kind of get into that later, like ask my awesome guest a question on one of these very shows. But without further ado, planeswalking in from Grand Rapids, Michigan, from Team Lotus Box and the social media manager for the Game Podcast, I have with me the very talented Kat Light, hashtag Spirit Squad. How you doing today, Kat?
I'm doing really well. I'm excited to be on the podcast / video with you. Excited to be doing this. I've missed podcasting, so this is super fun.
Awesome. Well, podcasting has missed you, my friend. Yeah, I mean, you have, you're kind of on fire lately.
Yeah, I like to think so. I'm just trying to do as much as I can in the Magic community and in the Magic realm with playing and creating content and just trying to push everything I can because I love our community and I love this game.
What is the most impactful way? Usually I like to start with your Magic origin story, but lately I've just been like, I really like to focus on the positivity because it is very easy to get negative, whether it be from certain decisions from certain companies that make the game or whatever happens.
Yeah.
But I like to try to stay on the smiley side of things. So what's the biggest way that Magic has impacted your life personally in a positive way?
Oh, wow. That's hard to answer because I went from just a year ago when I first started playing competitively. I was like a data analyst with like a 9-to-5 job, just really looking to just play as much Magic as I could, which is why I started playing competitively. And since then, now Magic's my entire life. I am social media manager for the GAM podcast and for the Lotus Box. And I'm also on Team Lotus Box. I play every single tournament I can get my hands on. Like Magic is totally... warp's not the right word because it's a positive thing, but warped my entire life and for the best way possible. I love the game and I think our community is amazing.
I think warped is a perfect kind of adjective for it because it does. It gets in there, it dremels its way into your soul, and whether you like it or not, it just doesn't leave with no amount of shampoo or pharmaceuticals can kind of clear it out. And it's just crazy, but it is for a reason, right? And it's not just the cardboard, but it is also just as you stated, the community around it is just so amazing.
Yeah, I am in love and have a very strong relationship with the Magic community, and I'm so thankful for them because there are a lot of games that have really the communities aren't the best, and it's a fight to want to play the game. But with Magic, the community is one of the huge draws, and it's really incredible.
Absolutely. So without further ado, Kat, what is your Magic origin story? How did it all start?
So I started playing Magic. I had graduated college and was working as a data analyst. And one of my friends from college ended up being my intern. And I'd always heard about Magic because I hung out with people that are like Magic players in college. Like we always end up attending towards the same kind of people like that. And so I'd heard about it, and he was like, it was my friend James, and he was like, I think that you'd really like this game. He's like, you're really competitive, and you'd like to use your brain. And I was like, okay. So he was like, we're going to have team building. And he took our entire team from work over to hit another of our friends' houses, and I played one game with a mono white starter deck and was just like, this is so cool. This game is awesome. I was like, I get to compete, but also use my brain, and it was fantastic. And I immediately we went to F&M. He built me this red-green werewolves deck. It was in Eldritch Moon.
Nice.
So he built me this red-green werewolves deck, and we went to F&M. It was a modern F&M, and I did not care. I was like, yep, all right, we're going to play. I just want to play. I was like, I don't care if I lose all 4 rounds. I just want to play Magic. And I actually won 1 round with my modern against a modern deck with my standard red-green werewolves deck.
Nice. They were just so dumbfounded that you were playing those cards. They're like, I don't know.
Yeah. And I just so hooked. And I immediately started going 6 days a week and just never stopped.
Awesome. Initially about the game drew you in as far as just like, wow, this is different from other games, and what is your favorite aspect now?
So I didn't really play other games. Like I played like card games like Spades, like that kind of card game, but I'd never really played like Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon or anything like that. I didn't even play I don't play video games. It was just like a competitive outlet, so I'd always done a lot of sports. And the fact that it was like a competitive outlet that used what I saw as like one of my strongest qualities, which is my brain, to be able to compete. I loved it. I loved there were so many aspects of it. It was just like in the first couple of weeks, it was like there was no, I could tell that there was no limit to the amount I could learn in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just something for everybody, and I think that's part of the hook as well. Where it's, a lot of people that I talk to, it's the art itself, it's the lore aspect, and then other people like yourself, it's the competitive aspect. It really scratches that itch for so many people, and that's again why this game is so incredible. What is your favorite format that you're playing now, or kind of your I don't know, as lack of a better term, your baby format? Like, which is your favorite format, and what do you like to play the most?
So for a long time, Modern was my favorite format. Obviously, like I'm Spirit Queen, and I loved Spirits. Right. I played Spirits before there was Supreme Phantom. I've just always loved it. But lately, it's been Legacy. I've been prepping for SCG Syracuse in 2 weeks or a week and a half, and I have loved playing Legacy. It's just a whole new animal because I haven't really played it that much, and it actually feels much more fair right now than Modern does. Modern feels like it's doing really degenerate things, and I don't really enjoy it.
There's no time warp when Legacy feels more fair than Modern.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts. And it's just like it feels more like in Legacy that I actually get to play every single game than it feels like in Modern when I'm just trying to play like kind of like fairish decks. So I've really enjoyed Legacy, and then I play EDH as like a casual outlet to still get to play the game, but I don't play it very much.
Now, are you a spiky EDH player, or are you playing nice at the EDH tables?
Oh, I'm a spiky EDH player. Oh, like I'm trying to like tooth and nail entwined on like turn 3, or Boring Flex 2 on turn 2. Yeah, I'm very spiky.
Yeah, why shouldn't you? Fun, cat. Can't wait to play EDH with you. No. What format would you like to play more of? Like, you're already dipping into Legacy, which is a beast all to itself. Although, back in the day when I was a wee lad, that's Legacy was type 2 back then. So I was playing Standard and Tempest, unfortunately, because I'm old. But Legacy's a beast, and you'll probably be stuck on that for a while. But what other format that you haven't gotten to, maybe like a cube or something that you would like to start?
So I play all of the competitive formats pretty well, and I don't really enjoy limited. I feel like I don't enjoy limited because I'm bad at it. So maybe once I like actually force myself to play it, maybe I'll enjoy it. But I'm trying to think. And actually, you know what? I really enjoyed Two-Headed Giant, like Sealed.
Yeah.
I love that, and I don't really pre-release very often. So when I get to pre-release and get to play Two-Headed Giant, that's something I really, really enjoy.
Yeah,
that'd be a format I wish I could play all the time.
Yeah, oh, for sure. I wish that they did more, and I know there's a lot of rumblings surrounding pre-release right now. But yeah, I think that if they could do more sealed event, you'd be surprised with how many people I ask that like their favorite format, and they're just like sealed or pre-release, and it's just like such a special kind of narrow event, and maybe that's part of the allure of it. But Two-Headed Giant is just so much fun, and it's good to see that they really tried, right? It just didn't stick with what was it? It was Battle Bond, I guess. Was there Two-Headed Giant?
Oh yeah, I didn't play any Battle Bond, but I did play the conspiracy ones where it was like multiplayer. Sure. That was super fun. That was one of the first drafts I did, was actually a Conspiracy 2. That one was super fun. I would do Conspiracy Draft again in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I'm hoping that that's not a dead thing, that they're going to keep up with that, because it was a way to almost it was a really fun format, like you said, but it was also a way for them to do like modern masters, or like a master set light, because there was some real value in those sets, but they weren't trying to gouge for all the MSRP and other anyway. During the time of recording this, a lot of stuff has happened from WotC. No, but what made you really want to? And like you said, it was probably your sports background or your athletic background. But what made you be like, okay, I'm playing, this werewolf deck. I'm beating modern people, but I could probably really do this. Like I could maybe even make some coin doing it. What made you decide to really start grinding competitively?
So initially I was going to an LGS, and I'm trying to think what made me really want to grind competitively. The LGS that I was going to is actually pretty competitive. Some of the best friends that I still have in Magic, I met there, and they're like, two of them are going to the Pro Tour this weekend. They were all just very competitive, and I have like this innate need to always be the best that I can be at whatever I'm doing, which just automatically drives me to doing things on like a competitive way. Because jumping into the competitive scene is what's going to make me the best. And I saw something, not Magic isn't something to like conquer, but it was something to like make me what's a good way to say this? Be something that I can feel like I can get to my best with. And I just always have a drive to do that. And so it was just like doing the competitive scene was just natural for me. I was just like, yeah, let's go. I went and played a classic in Charlotte and was like, looked at my friend Kwame Gunn, who's one of my best friends. And I was like, so we're going to go to Columbus next week or Cincinnati next weekend for the Open. And he was like, yeah, I'm down. So we did it. And we just never stopped.
That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, so what are in the short amount of time that you've been doing this also, I mean, you've already hit some pretty incredible feats, not just with the game, but I mean, as far as being competitive, you're already on like Brainstorm Brewery, which is like one of the premier finance podcasts. I mean, so you do everything like well. Like I'm talking to you now, and it feels like you've been podcasting longer than I have, and so I mean, that's incredible stuff. Like that's a pretty formidable attribute, I would say. So.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's something I just really, really enjoy doing. I love people. I love engaging with people. I love creating ways to engage with people. I think it's awesome. And I think the community is the biggest draw to Magic.
You're also one of the premier female players in the game. How important is that to you?
So I remember I looked at the outline that you sent me and I saw that question. That's like kind of hard to answer because I'm of the mindset that as important as it is, it's very important for women to have representation because they are underrepresented right now. But it also just shouldn't really matter because we shouldn't be underrepresented. So
100%, absolutely,
yeah. So I am very much of the mindset that being like a quote premier female player is great because there is representation. The fact that it's me, I just playing the game because I love the game, and I think
faces. You're like whatever.
Yeah, I just really want to play the game and play it to the best of my ability and to bring other people into playing the game. And if anything, I would want to be a positive force for everyone. And if it happens to bring other women into the game, that's just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to be said about that, and I 100% agree with you. But you're going to have, whether you want to be or not, you're going to be put in this kind of dare I say role model role because of how. I don't know. This is kind of getting soapboxy, but how the country is, the state of everything right now. So people are going to flock to a strong female presence, especially in this kind of male-dominated community. So I think it's great what you're doing, and I'm just saying it's going to come with a lot of people looking up to you. I mean, that's great. I mean, I couldn't think of a better person to represent that side. So whether you like it or not, you're the person.
Well, I appreciate that a lot, and I do take it seriously, that the fact that there are people that will see me as a role model. It's definitely intimidating because I'm just another person that makes mistakes and just wants to play the game. But I do take it seriously, and I think that it's a real thing. And basically, again, anything that brings other people into this game that really just want to play the game and makes them feel more comfortable playing the game, I'm happy to sit there and be like, yes, you should be here. Every one of us should be here. We all deserve to play this game. We all belong here.
Absolutely. What do you think is the key to get more strong female players and community members like yourself involved in the game? And do you feel like there's been real progress since you started?
So I can definitely say I think there has been real progress. I think just by the fact that if we look out there, we have several podcasts that are all women, the combatants and proven combatants, and then we had VClick, and so we're just seeing a lot more presence of a lot more women. And I think that I've actually felt like when I look out at opens, and I just like look at everyone in the room, I can spot so many more women than I could when I first started, and I play against more women every tournament. Like there was a time where it was like I maybe played against one woman every 6th tournament, and now it feels like every single tournament I'm playing against a woman. I think it's amazing. And I'm not sure. It's kind of hard to answer the question of what I think that we can do to get more women. I think that women that are already playing the game, just keep doing what you're doing. I'll keep doing what I'm doing. We'll try to get more people. And when we do see women, we'll be like, hey, this is awesome. I think that it's something that'll just happen. It's more gradual. It's not going to ever be an immediate change. Because just like as we get more women playing and they realize that they're welcome here, then they'll tell other people and it'll go on and on and on.
Absolutely. At Ravnica Allegiance pre-release, when I played with I opened a pretty bomb-ass Orzhov pack, and I went. It was the midnight pre-release, so I was not making any excuses. I was just tired. I'm like, kind of want to, I wouldn't mind losing to get home to bed, because I opened my foil Teysa, and I'm like, I got what I came for, but of course, it's pre-release. I want to sit down. I lost 3 in a row, 3 full games in a row, and they were all women, and I thought it was the coolest thing ever. That's never happened before, because I played at pre-releases or FNMs, like you said, it's like once every couple tournaments that you even play a female Magic player. And then I was geeking out the fact that all of my opponents were women, and that I was getting stomped legit by all of them, and I was just like, awesome. And yes, it shouldn't matter. And you shouldn't feel like you found like gold at the end of a rainbow, but it does feel good, and it does feel like real change is actually happening, especially since I started playing back when the rocks were soft. So I guess what I'm saying is I'm looking forward to a time where I don't feel happy about that, or it doesn't even register to me that was a cool thing.
I definitely agree with that, and I think that I actually think that part of the I don't want to say problem, but part of what can potentially keep women away is the fact that they're expecting a lot of like bad behavior towards them. I can probably count on one hand the number of bad interactions I've actually had with people in the 2.5 years I've been playing. And I think that it's one of those things where it's like we're having this conversation about women in Magic, and it's really great and it's important to recognize like bad behaviors, but I don't think it's right to set the tone like you have to expect that that's going to happen.
Sure.
And I think that is something that if I had known that was going to be a thing, I may not have started playing competitively. I never knew that was a thing, that there was an issue with women in Magic, that people acted toxically towards women. I just wanted to play the game. And so I went to the tournaments and I played. And then afterwards I was like, oh, wait, people experience this? I'm like, oh, that's really awful. But if I had come into the scene thinking that I was going to expect that, I think that it would really taint my view of Magic and of competitive Magic. So I think it's important to realize that, to focus on the positive aspect of playing Magic and being like, hey, you're a woman, you belong here, let's all just play this game. And if something bad happens, like realize things happen to people who are playing regardless of whether you're a woman or a man. It may happen a little bit more often if you're a woman, and but it's just one of those things where it's like people are assholes. So don't shake it off. You belong here. You deserve to be here to play this game. Don't let one other person dictate whether or not you feel welcome.
Absolutely. So moving on, you have quite a love affair with the Spirit tribe of Magic the Gathering, which is one of my favorite. I mean, I'm all Orzhov all the way. My favorite card of all time is Lingering Souls, but I mean, you really love Spirits, Bant Spirits. What is your involvement with this deck?
So Spirits so I had my red-green werewolves deck, and my friend built that one for me. And my first standard FNM, so we played the modern FNM. I was 1-3, but I was super happy. Then the next Friday, I played a standard FNM, played my red-green werewolves, and I played against my friend Keith, and he was playing blue-white Spirits. And all I remember him doing is like flashing in a Rattle Chain, and then flashing in a Selfless Spirit, and sacking it, and blocking, and doing all these super cool things. And I was like, I want to play that deck. I would play that deck now. And so I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, cards cost like $3. I don't know if I can do this. And trading in like the entire red green werewolves deck and trying to build this like terrible blue white spirits deck. But I had so much fun playing it. And then when I got into modern, I started, all of the modern decks I've ever played have been hierarch decks. And so I had a friend, I played like Infect and Bant Eldrazi. And then I started playing Bant Nightfall, which had like Spell Queller in it. And then my friend Duncan handed me this Bant Spirits deck. He was like, I think that you played Blue White Spirits at Standard. I think you'll really like this deck. And I lost so much, but I was in love with the way the deck played. It was like this tempo strategy, and I got to like walk people into like really awkward plays, and they had no idea what they were doing against me because the deck was like tier 2 back then. But I had so much fun with it, and I really enjoyed like figuring it out, and I just love the way the deck played, and I've just never looked back.
Yeah, there's something to be said about going and spiking some, especially some like FNMs and stuff or game days with like tier 2, even tier 3 decks, because no one's expecting the Spanish Inquisition. You know, it's just like,
yeah,
you drop. I used to drop 8-rack all the time just to mix it up, and people would be pissed. But I clear up tournaments and. Like, sorry, or like Naya allies, and no one's sideboarding against Naya allies. So, because Banned Spirits, if I remember, had Coco in it as well, right? Or still?
Yes, it still has Coco in it, and it was before. So we got a new Lord with M19, but like I actually enjoyed playing the deck more before the new Lord because it actually played more like a tempo deck. While now it's an aggro deck, which just isn't actually nearly as fun. Like I almost want to just go back to the old way. And like maybe I won't lose more, but I had more fun.
Yeah.
We ended up my favorite memory of Spirits is my friend Will and Kwame, who we got to the finals of the Atlanta Open with. That was my team. Before that Open, they were trying to convince me to play something different, like Mardu Pyromancer or Humans. And I was just like, no. I was like, I understand the ins and outs of this deck. I understand where its flaws are. I understand how to play all these matchups. And they ended up like putting their trust in me, and we get to the finals. And I was just like, yes, finally, this is what happens. You just dedicate all 2.5 years to this deck, and it'll actually do something.
Awesome. So on the other flip side, there was a very unfortunate event that happened with that said deck where it was actually stolen from you at an event. But this community isn't always perfect. But boy, did they did it respond with a resounding F you to that person. And yeah, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so we had a testing house for the Invitational back in December, a Team Lotus Box testing house. And on Saturday night, because the NV was over and none of us made top 8 of the NV, we had a party. And I remember walking through the house and looking at Zane like, hey, we don't know some of the people here as well as we thought we did. Let's just put all of our cards away. And then, but we ended up doing like a fun, like modern, like something. And I ended up getting Spirits back out. And then I went to bed, and the next morning I was like walking around. I was like, I don't see Spirits anywhere. But it was like Sunday we got snowed in because there was like an actual blizzard came through Roanoke. It was like the second time I've seen the most snow was here like 2 weeks ago in Michigan. Like it was so much snow. And then so like I wasn't that concerned about it. I like slept all day because it was like my downtime day from the NV. And then on Monday I was looking around, I was like, I really don't see Spirits anywhere. And we went through everyone's stuff. We had like a buddy system, like everyone went through somebody else's stuff, and we just couldn't find the deck. And I like walked around, and it would like actually hit me that it was finally gone, because I kept doing the thing of like, no, it'll show up, it's somewhere around here, we'll find it. And then when it like actually hit me, it was just devastating. And I like, that's when I tweeted out, I was like, hey, if anyone has seen this deck, like, or if you see it, let me know. I can't find my deck. But I'm gonna start crying. The amazing support from the community to like replace my deck, and like I'm still like I just got another piece for it in Indianapolis, and it was just incredible. I can't believe like I'm playing it in Philly, and I'm so excited because it'll be like, first of all, we 0-3 dropped Columbus, so I didn't really get to play it that much. But in Philly, I'm actually gonna spend like 9 rounds playing this beautiful deck, and I'm gonna have to try not to cry all day, and it's just incredible. I'm so thankful for the Magic community. Like, people will harp on it and say some things like are bad or good, but when you look at like the entirety of the community and how people just really want to play Magic and help people play Magic, and I'm so thankful.
I'd be absolutely damned if anyone could have a similar story in a different gaming community, right? Like you said, Magic is not a cheap habit, hobby, profession, especially if you're doing it like grinding and playing. So that's just got to be there's no worse feeling in the world when you lose a single card, let alone an entire deck, let alone a modern, it goes on and on. But what just a resounding like feel good story. It was just absolutely incredible that there was a response that way. And obviously, I mean, you could see by the initial tweet reaction that you sent out how thankful you are, and you're still emotional thinking about it now. So it's just an incredible thing. But yeah, shifting to kind of maybe a more lighthearted bit is the deck that you've been championing this season, and I guess we didn't touch on. You're not. I don't know. How do you feel about Standard as a whole?
I think Standard's in a fantastic place. I have never experienced a Standard that was so wide open, because I started playing really like the first Standard I experienced was, I guess, kind of the Eldritch Moon right before Coco rotated Standard a little bit, but it was just like FNMs then. And then the next Standard I really experienced was like Kaladesh, which was just overpowered. Holy crap. Red White Vehicles was nuts. And then Mardu Vehicles, like they still did bannings and the decks were still insane.
And we got to power down Shadows Ever Innistrad. They're banning Emrakul, and I'm like,
yeah, like it just that Standard was just very polarizing. Like you choose like one of 3 decks, but now it's like Standard is so wide open, and it's actually kind of a challenge to figure out things, and you actually have more than just like 2 matchups to prepare for, and it's not all teamer mirrors. And like pet decks actually kind of have like a place. Like people would say like mono blue was kind of like a pet deck initially, but the deck's always been pretty good, and now it's just like it's great.
So this deck has a fun moniker. I love it. It's the most non-PC name for a deck, and that's the Mono Blue Shitters.
Yep. I started branding it that when I like top 16 like a classic. I was just like, yeah, this is literally a pile of shitters, but it's so fun. Like that deck is so fun.
But it's not, you're not only like killing it with it, but other people are like tweeting about it, just like, okay, yeah, the deck is pretty damn good. Thank you, Kat. What does that mean to you that one of your, this pile of shit, as you say, is like putting in results and putting in work for people?
It feels great. Like it really does. Like I just end up playing, a lot of times I play decks that I find really fun that are like a decent standing in like the or like that also go to my play style. Like it's a tempo deck, and I love tempo decks, spirits, shitters. Like I tried to play blue-white spirits in Legacy. It was terrible, but I tried really hard.
Trying to make that happen, yeah.
I just love tempo decks. So a lot of the times I just end up piloting a deck that's like tier 1.5 and like try to do decently well with it. And the fact that now this deck's like actually tier 1 and people are loving it and people are playing it just makes me really happy, because people get to experience how much fun the deck is. I've been experiencing it for months, and now I'm just like, yes, everyone gets to feel it, because the deck is like winning with a 1/1 with just an enchantment on it. You're just like, this is literally a 2/2. Why are you dying? But you're dying. It's just so fun.
How are you going to feel? Are you going to feel elation, or are you going to feel anger when you lose to it for the first time?
Okay, so I've already lost the mirror once. I did lose the mirror. I know. I did lose the mirror once. And, but yeah, sometimes that happens. Sometimes they just have more wizards retorts than you. But I'll be happy. Just at the same time, like I lost the Bant Spirit Mirror the first time I played against it, and I was just happy that someone else was playing. I was happy that I was just playing the mirror in general.
Right.
Because that meant that people really enjoyed playing the deck. So
you should just sign the, the O2 or the, whatever the loss thing, and just be like, you're welcome.
Yeah, right. you just beat the queen. Yes.
Exactly. Oh man! All right. Well, tell me about your process of joining the competitive teams. Now are kind of the new hotness thing. Tell me about joining a competitive team and what made you decide on settling on Team Lotus Box.
So I joined Team Lotus Box back in August, and I didn't. Saying I settled on Team Lotus Box is definitely a statement, because it was really I had one other team that was searching me out, and then in GP Detroit, I was actually I was practicing the Bant Spirits Mirror with Zan because he was trying to convince me to put Ether Vial on the deck. I remember this very distinctly. He was like mulliganing to hands that had Ether Vial in it so he could prove this to me, and then I was still whooping his ass. So, but, and so, and he basically, sorry, now I'm stumbling. He sat there and he was like, all right, Kat, like we're like playing games. He's like, I have something I want to ask you. And I was like, okay, like what is this about? He's like, I was like, maybe it's a spirits thing. Like I was pretty good friends with Zan at that point. He was like, so, Lotus Box has like we have like an opening on it, and I was like, like where is this going? And he like asked me to be on Team Lotus Box, which is, I like was breathless. Like I couldn't believe that I knew Lotus Box. Lotus Box was the first team that I knew on the SUG tour, the first team that I knew at all, because I remember going to the Cincinnati Open over a year and a half ago, and that's when Collins Mullins won, and I remember hearing about Team Lotus Box, and I was like, wow, that's a team. And I just remember looking at all the people that were on it and you're like, wow, like that's the goal. Like to me, Lotus Box was literally the goal. I wanted to be recognized by people of that caliber and be that good at Magic. And then Zan's like less than a year later asking me to be on Team Lotus Box, and I just couldn't even speak. I was just like, wait, is this real life? Like I don't understand. And so Lotus Box really, to me at that point, was like a bunch of my friends. I'd already become pretty good friends with all of them. And a bunch of my friends who were incredible at Magic. And it was also a very mutual thing because they really needed help with their social media stuff. And I really wanted to become the best I can possibly be at Magic. And it just became this great opportunity for both of us. And it's been amazing. We have so many cool things in the works as Lotus Box. And I'm really excited about all of them.
Yeah, me too. And I'm sure everyone else is very excited as well. You're also doing kind of a dual social media manager role, and the second one is for the GAM podcast. Yes. You know, it's got a little person on there called Jerry Thompson. I don't know if anyone knows who that guy is. How the hell did that come to be, Kat?
So I had interacted with Jerry a couple of times just over Twitter and stuff like that. And when I announced that I was doing full-time Magic and moving to Michigan, it was a couple of weeks before the Baltimore Open in December. And, I know what it was. He had on his podcast had announced that they wanted to do data collection for this upcoming PT that's happening this weekend. And I just immediately tweeted at them. I was like, I got you on this. I'm a data analyst. This is what I do. I will do this. I'm going to the PT anyways. And so he approached me in Baltimore to talk about that. And he was like, also like, hey, we're going to have an opening for social media stuff for the GAM. And I was just like, he's like, I know you're doing full-time Magic. Do you want like a part-time job? And I was like, yes, I do. Please, please. And thank you. And it just ended up being an awesome opportunity to do it. And so working with Jerry has been awesome. He's fantastic. And he's also been a really great as we're planning, doing some really cool content stuff for Lotus Box. He's like super approachable and willing to help us on all of that. And he's just fantastic.
Absolutely. Jerry Thompson is just like, he's just such a feel-good person, right? Like you can't be in a room with Jerry Thompson and like be in a bad mood. He's just like the encapsulation of positivity.
And real. He's very real all the time.
Yes.
While being positive, he's just like, when Jerry's saying something that's actually what he believes and what he thinks. He's just so genuine, and I think it's fantastic.
Absolutely. And until very recently, we're talking about podcasts a little bit. You were part of what was one of the kind of podcasts that were just on this crazy meteoric rises, and then it just kind of went away. And that is the V-Click podcast, with a lot of, like you said, fellow female Magic community members and players. What was it like being on that podcast, and shed any light, if you can, about kind of the fate of that cast?
Being on that podcast was a dream. I really respected the women that were on there, getting to like be a part of something where it was just such influential, amazing women who really loved the game, and getting to like be in group chats with them. And it was one of those things where it was like, it was very validating and to get to be a part of such an amazing group of people. And it was just really fun. Like we did it, because like we were all in this group chat together. That was something we started that was called Unconditional Love and Support, because we were all like kind of like going through like a rough time with trying to grind competitively. And then one day, I think it was Emily, she was just like, hey, let's do a podcast. Or maybe it was Jess. One of us said, hey, let's do a podcast. And then the other 4 of us were like, hell yeah, let's do a podcast. And we just really, really loved it. And unfortunately, for some people, it was a hobby. And for people like me who, like, I just always want to be the best that I can be, it was something I took really seriously and really enjoyed. And it ended up causing, we just ended up seeing the podcast going in different directions. And it didn't work out, unfortunately. It was something, it really sucks. I really miss it a lot. And but it's just kind of how it goes sometimes with creating content. It's not going to stop me from creating more content. And like I said, Lotus Box has a lot of really cool content stuff in the works. We're actually working on a website and creating articles and everything like that. So I have another outlet for content at this point. I do miss doing the podcast, and hopefully I can figure out another way to do a podcast in the future.
Well, this might be a polarizing statement, but you are always my favorite part of the V-Click podcast. So whatever venture you go on to next is for, and I mean, it would be criminal. I mean, just listening to you on that and listening to you on Brainstorm Brewery, and I think that people will respond very positively to this episode. I think it would be a crime to not do that as well, because I think that you are a very natural person. You're a very passionate person, and I think that all those tendencies lend very well to this kind of a platform and this kind of a format. So wherever you're going next is where I'm going. So I appreciate the time we had with you on that, and I look forward to wherever you kind of wind up or land for the future.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm really focusing on trying to create video content, to be honest. I think that video is a really great place, and has a really competitive video content, has a really is unexplored area of Magic, besides just doing like league videos and stuff like that, but actually doing videos that are about competitive Magic and stuff like that. So I know that hopefully you'll be able to see some of that stuff in the near future.
Absolutely. What are your short-term and long-term goals in the game?
Whew, that is something that I've really
welcome to your job interview. You know,
right?
Please tell me your 5-year plan. Yeah.
Right. Especially it's the beginning of the year, so like talking about like goals and everything like that has definitely been on my mind. And with the Players Championship being announced for Star City, having to really decide whether or not that was something I really wanted to go after, has been a tough place to be, and like actually figuring out what I want to do in the game. And my short-term goals right now are very Lotus Box and content focused. Lotus Box has, I don't know if I'm allowed to announce this, but I'm going to anyways. We have some we nailed down some sponsorship deals that we're going to be announcing in the near future, and we have some really great plans for content. I'm the engagement coordinator for Lotus Box, so like everything that happens with content goes through me. And we have some really, really cool goals for that. So I've been really focused on that. And I'm working on creating my own content, video content. And I'm really focusing on improving my Magic skill, so playing a lot more, and then also creating content. But I'm not focused on making the Players Championship for this year, because I think that I've only been playing 2.5 years. And I think that the amount of time, there's just not enough time in the day to get done everything I would want to get done, plus focus on making the Players Championship. But I know the rest of Lotus Box is very focused on that. So I'm going to be helping them reach their goals. I'm going to be trying to top 8 my first Open by myself. I really, really, really want to be the first woman to win an individual Open, 2-day Open. So that's one of my biggest goals, is playing towards that, and then also creating a bunch of content.
Awesome. Yeah, it's like I said, you've been on absolute fire lately, and it doesn't sound like that's going to stop anytime soon. This is now to the part of the episode, which is one of the newer segments and one of my favorite segments. This is the patron question. So first off, thank you to all my patrons, all my patrons that support the show, support the channel, everything we're doing here. And this is from my newest patron, and that is none other than one of the premier cosplayers in the game. That's Tarmo Cat and Anthony.
Oh, I love her. She's so great.
Just love them to death. So fantastic people, those two. And they have a question for you. Actually, a couple. Okay. First off, Kat specifically wants to know, are you a Catherine or a Kathleen?
I'm a Catherine. Yes.
Oh, so Catherine. She's a Kathleen. Yep. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right. I haven't met a Kathleen that goes by Kat before. That's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was very important. That she wanted to make sure that. But she was when I told her that I was interviewing you, like her and Anthony got very excited. So I was just like,
Oh,
absolutely, you
that's
guys
awesome.
could.
I love them. They're so great.
Yeah. So their question is, what do you think of the health of the current standard metagame, and how do you think it will adapt playing as and against mono blue aggro?
Whew, all right. First of all, it's mono blue shitters. Got a correct right there. Second, I think that standard is probably the healthiest it's been in a while. You see probably 5 like tier 1 decks and then 5 tier 1.5 decks, which I think is just like a really great place to be. And the tier quote 1.5 decks are still really solid. And I think that it's just, standard is so fun. It's not the exact same thing every match, which is really nice place to be. Like I just remember going and playing Marty Vehicles in like that Marvel format where it was literally like I prepped for Blue White Flash, Marvel, and the Mirror. That was it. And I played, that was the only threat I ever actually played against.
Yeah,
It was awful.
not a good time. Yeah.
So I think it's in a really good place. I think Mono Blue Shitters, my first love in Standard, is in a really good place. I think that there is definitely some hate for it. There's like, oh my gosh, what was the card? One of my friends yesterday or the day before was like, oh yeah, people are playing 4 Sagittars Volley. And I was like, what is that card? I don't even know what that card is. And reading it, and I was like, people are playing 4 of this? I don't know if I can play Mono Blue anymore. This cards are really scary. So stuff like that. But I think that people are definitely packing hate for it, which to me is really nice to see because that means the deck is like people are really scared of it. And the deck's hard to play against. And so I think it forces people to actually, it's one of those matchups they really have to practice. I just think it's a really fun deck. I don't think it'll warp Standard in any way because Standard's just so healthy right now. And it does have bad matchups like the red-black deck that just won the GP. Jody Keith's deck's bad matchup, and so is mono red. But I think the deck it's here to stay for sure.
Absolutely. I just love the progression of tweets too, because at first they're like, what's the big deal about this mono blue shitters deck? And now it's just like, mono blue shitters is real. You know?
Yup. And everyone keeps tagging me like, oh look, this took me to Platinum Arena, and I'm just like, you're welcome.
$5. Yeah. Absolutely. All right. So now, thank you again, Kat and Tony, for your question. Awesome stuff. Like I said, that's the kind of cool, tier stuff that you get to do as a patron to this very channel. But now we've gotten to the time where we're at the game, Face the D20. So we're going to find out a little bit more about Kat behind the cards and more about her as a person. These are 20 questions that she's going to spin a spin down, and each one has a non-magic related question attached to it. So if you're ready,
I'm ready.
let's do it. Spin away, my friend.
Yeah. All right, number 8.
Number 8. If you could have dinner with any dead celebrity, who would it be?
Marie Curie.
Nice.
Not even close. I was a chemistry major and a biology major in college, and Madame Curie was my first idol. Just this go get 'em. Didn't care that she was a woman. No one was holding her back. She was going to study what she wanted. She gave literally her entire life to what she studied, and I know most people wouldn't consider her a celebrity, but she's a celebrity to me, and I would in a heartbeat.
That is so cool. It was like you were ready for that question.
Yeah. She was an amazing person, and I use her quotes all the time because the way that she looked at the world was just constantly in this view of like awe. The fact the world existed together just amazed her every day.
That is awesome, and I guarantee that is never that will be the only response to that, which is great. Just own that. Go ahead and roll again, my friend.
All right. 16.
16. We have, what animal or insect are you most afraid of?
Most afraid of? Okay. The animal that it's actually my favorite animal, but I'm terrified of it, is the Irukandji jellyfish. It is a jellyfish. It's technically a box jellyfish, which normally there's the huge man of war jellyfish, but it's the size of your thumbnail. If it stings you, you will die within 30 minutes.
Oh my god.
And it's native to Australia. And I did this huge report on it in like 8th grade because it was so cool. It is literally the size of your thumbnail. It has no brain and can't think, but it will just kill you.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Does it have like a death toll, an annual death toll that you know?
No, I don't remember off the top of my head. But I definitely remember watching, like, there are people who get stung by, like, Man of Wars, like, these huge ones that have scars all over their bodies, but they survive that. And then people get stung by, like, an Irukandji, and, like, it just feels like a prick and you're just dead.
Jeez. Yeah. Okay. Well, so don't swim in the Australian waters.
Yeah.
You killed all of the travel plans for Australia.
They'll, on the Great Barrier Reef, they'll make them wear, like, these big puffer suits because of the jellyfish and, like, the Man of Wars and stuff like that. So if you actually go diving there.
Jeez, a real life narc-amoeba. All right. Go ahead. Roll again.
Right. 11.
11. We have MCU or Star Wars. I don't even know if you're a movie fan.
What is MCU?
Oh, the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, right. My bad. But if it would be, I should know that. It would be Marvel. I like superhero stuff. Star Wars is like fine. But I'm not gonna like. I'm probably gonna irritate people with that. It's fine. It was great for its time, and the new stuff's cool. But I love Marvel. I loved Iron Man, and I loved Thor. Obviously, every woman I know loves Thor. So.
Hell, I love Thor.
Right. And Black Panther was one of my favorite movies of all time.
Are you excited that that's up for Best Picture this year?
I am. I think it most certainly deserves it. The way they filmed it was also very different than the way they filmed other Marvel movies. The way they did action scenes, like, actually felt like you were there. And I remember, like, I watched it, I literally saw it 3 times in theater. And I remember sitting there being like, every time, like, just the way they filmed it just captured you so well. It was just so well done.
Absolutely. I love me some Ryan Coogler too. Yeah, do you have time for one more?
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
18.
18. What's your favorite TV series?
Ooh, that's hard. What is my favorite TV series? So, I'm gonna have to say, like, the one that I will watch all the time, no matter what, is Law and Order SVU.
Oh my gosh!
I've been watching that. Yeah, but I love that show. Or that, or like Grey's Anatomy. I watch Grey's Anatomy pretty religiously. I wanted to be a doctor for a long time, and then to realize that it just financially was really stupid to do that, just like time-wise and financially. But so I really, really enjoy Grey's Anatomy, and then Law and Order SVU is one of those shows that I could have seen the episode 16 times, and I'm gonna watch it again.
Nice. All right. Wow. So you're off the hook. That was Face the D20. How do you feel?
I feel good. Those are awesome questions. I love those.
Oh, good. Hey, it's what I do. At least what I try to do. So any upcoming projects you kind of alluded to it a little bit with Team Lotus Box, but any upcoming projects that you could tease or spoil for the audience?
So next week we're going to be announcing something pretty exciting for Lotus Box. We're going to be having I'm just going to spoil it out. We're going to be creating a Patreon and a Discord server, so that people can really get like a window into how Lotus Box preps for tournaments, the decks we want to play. We really want to give people a window into the Hive Mind of Lotus Box. So we're going to have a Patreon and a Discord server that we're going to be announcing. And it's something where, like, it's really cool to get these sponsorships. And we have some sponsorships lined up that we'll be announcing. But we really believe that Lotus Box is like a team for the community, and the Magic community is really important to us, and we constantly try to create all this free content. And so we really want it to be something where we can actually engage with the community and really help people on their journeys to be better Magic players, and have it so that they can work with us on our journey to be better Magic players.
Awesome.
So that's like the biggest thing. I've been working on it for like weeks. So
can't wait. We'll stay tuned. Kat freaking Light from Grand Rapids, Michigan, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Where can everyone find you, Kat?
So I'm always on Twitter, at HellCatMTG. I sometimes will stream, rarely. Also at HellCatMTG on Twitch. And then I work on if you see the arena deck lists on Twitter or the GAM podcast or Team Lotus Box, those are all run by me. So
no big deal, right?
Yeah. So I'm all over the place.
Excellent. Thank you so much again for planeswalking in. Planeswalkers, while you're out traversing, please again stop over at cardsphere.com, the very best place to buy, sell, and trade your paper Magic the Gathering cards online. Also, you can head on over to inkedgaming.com, enter promo code HiveMindMTG to receive 10% off your custom playmats, where you can get custom playmats like this cute little doggo right here, or you can actually get Hive Mind or 10th Street Hooligans playmats as well on the artist page. But either way, enter enter that promo code and receive your discount. You could also support this channel directly at patreon.com, and you can find me on Twitter at OrzovDunn. So until next time, Planeswalkers, I'll see you all in the multiverse.